all of us need a hand every now and then. I mean, we all need a hand. Whether it's a hand fixing a problem around the house, whether it's a hand working on our marriage, whether it's a hand at work. We all need a hand. But what we don't need is to be judged. Judged by our attitude, judged by our past mistakes, judged by our present situation. We don't need to be judged. We just need a hand sometimes. Sometimes we need a hand just to get through the day. Sometimes we need a hand just to get through a certain situation that we're dealing with. But what do I mean by a hand? I ain't talking about a round of applause. I'm not talking about a hand where you're handing out dollars or money to somebody. I'm not talking about a hand where we actually talking about fixing something. I'm talking about a hand which means have a nice day. Sometimes you all need to hear, have a nice day. Because you don't know what someone's dealing with. We all encounter it sometimes, whether we go to a restaurant, a fast food place, or we even go to work and we deal with people with negative attitudes. Negative attitudes because they got issues they're dealing with at home. Because they're power drunk. Because we all know someone that's power drunk. They got a new position, got a higher title. They've been called a manager, supervisor, assistant supervisor, and now they're power drunk. The power have went to their head, and now they want to control every single thing in your life because they realize they can't control their own. We deal with people like that. We deal with people at restaurants who don't necessarily have good customer service skills. We all been there. We all been to a restaurant and dealt with someone who has piss poor customer service skills. So you waiting for your food to get there, and they're taking their time. They're getting mad at you because they had a bad day. We all dealt with that. We all dealt with people at a fast food joint where you go order your food and they mess up your order and they pissed off at you because you mentioned the fact that they messed up your order. We all dealt with that at one point in our lives. But our response shows how much self-control we have. Shows more about our character than theirs. Because sometimes when we look at people, the one thing we have to have is empathy for people. Empathy for what people are dealing with. What they're dealing with their lives. Not what we know about, not what we think, but what they're going through. Because sometimes it's not about what you know. It's not about what you understand. Sometimes you just have to look at someone and see the pain in their eyes and just give them a hand. Just give them a hand. Even though that person at that restaurant, that server at that restaurant is being complicated, and you might only give them a $2 tip instead of the $5 or $10 tip you typically give them, you still got to give them a hand beyond that. Even though at that fast food joint, they messed up your order for the umpteenth time, you got to give them a hand at the end. Even though they don't show great customer service, they don't show that they deserve, you got to give them a hand. Even though you got that manager who's drunk with power now, that assistant manager, that assistant supervisor who's drunk with power right now, sometimes you just got to give them a hand. Just give them a hand. Because you have to show that you're ready to rise above negativity in order to keep and maintain the positivity that lives in your life. Continue to maintain the course that you're trying to trend and go on. We're not just positivity, but with prosperity. Because this is what it's all about, right? Being prosperous, growing, moving, rising above the clouds of negativity to find the positivity and the peace in our lives without needing sage in our lives, without needing to sage ourselves, without having to have regret that, you know what, I shouldn't have cussed that person out. I shouldn't even stoop to that level. The only way we do that is by giving someone a hand. Give them a hand. And what's a hand? Have a nice day. Even if they don't return it. Even if you don't feel like they deserve it. Because everyone deserves some empathy for what they're going through. If they're power drunk, they need some empathy for what they're going through. If they're just negative by nature, they need some empathy to what they're going through because they don't know what they do. They don't know the reason that they're going negative. They don't understand that they do have control of their lives. And by trying to control your happiness, your peace, it's not going to give them peace and happiness. By trying to pull you down in whatever lines that they're living in, it's not going to make them feel any better. But what could uplift someone's spirit, what could change someone's mood, the best way to fight that issue, to fight that conflict, to fight that war is by simply giving somebody a hand. Have a nice day. Smile kills the tension, the anger. And a lot of times, more times than not, it offsets your enemy. Because now it knocks your enemy off balance because they're trying to scramble to figure out how to react because they just knew they had the control over you. To see, if somebody can control your emotions and how you react by displaying ignorance, negativity, and then you respond to it, then technically they control you. But see, when you hit them with a hand, have a nice day, now what you do in return is you knock them off balance because they got to scramble and try to figure out, whoa. Typically, when I show somebody this type of negativity, I show this power drunk spirit, typically what I do is I influence how someone's day is. I can destroy someone's day. I can destroy someone's mood. I can control them. But in this situation, at this point in time, well, why is it not working? Why are they telling me have a nice day? Did they just hear me like be negative to them? Didn't they see me slam their plate on the table? Didn't they see me complaining about giving them an extra barbecue sauce? Didn't they see me sit there and wait by the door when they came back from lunch and tell them they was 2 minutes late from lunch? Didn't they see that I was up there showing my power drunk nature, my negativity? Why aren't they reacting to it? Why did they give me a hand? Why did they hit me with happily ever have a nice day? Why did they hit me with that? It's because you took back the power and control over your life. And not only did you take back the power and control over your life, you influenced and tried to give someone something that they didn't have. You gave them an opportunity to turn around their day. I get it. Sometimes we have bad days where we wake up in the morning and nothing seems right. You can't find your keys to your car because your kids put the keys in the refrigerator. You can't find your outfit. You spilled your coffee. You misplaced your wallet. Stuff happens. Things happen every day to us. You get into it, you're still carrying on an argument with your significant other from last night. You're still pissed off because you still didn't get your project done, or your kids tell you at 11 o'clock at night that they got a project due tomorrow, because we all been there, right? As parents, we all been there where kids tell us at 11 o'clock at night they got a project due. So we all been there where we start off the next day on the wrong foot, waking up on the wrong side of the bed because we have some kind of issue. And we immediately say out of our mouths, well, I already know how this day gonna go. The rest of the day is gonna be trash. We already expecting the rest of the day to go down the toilet because we already speaking that into existence. And why? Because how our mornings start off. Then as we encounter people, we continue on that negativity because we're expecting our day to continue off on the wrong foot. So we start to project how our day is on other people. We unintentionally sometimes, and sometimes intentionally, start to project how our day is going, how the expectations of our day is going to go on other people. So because I'm expecting my day to be bad, because I'm expecting to have a negative day, I'm expecting to be negative to every single other person. Now you gotta get it. You ain't have nothing to do with my keys ending up in the refrigerator or my kid telling me at 11 o'clock at night they got a project due tomorrow and it represents 60% of their grade. You ain't had nothing to do with the argument that me and my significant other had the night before. You ain't got nothing to do with the fact that I spilled coffee on myself. You had nothing to do with it, but somehow, some way, now you're in my crosshairs. So what am I going to do? I'm going to spread my negativity to you because I have to project my negativity towards someone else because my expectations is for my day to be bad. So my expectations for everybody I encounter is to be negative because I have a negative mindset. Now, how do you offset that? How do an individual offset that expectation, that negativity, those words of encouragement that you spoke to yourself that my day is going to be a bad day? Simply a smile in the hand. Have a nice day can change everything because it will offset it. And even sometimes you might have somebody who hit you with, what you mean have a nice day? You don't know how my day started. Look at this coffee stain on my shirt. I had to change my shirt 3-4 times. I got mismatched shoes. I'm late for work. I'm going to get written up because I'm late for work. How are you telling me to have a nice day? Sometimes you got to give them another hand. Have a nice day. Leave them confused. Leave them confused with your happiness and peace. Leave them confused with that. Leave them off balance with that because what you did was, if you did nothing for them, and understands people, if you did nothing for them in changing their mood, changing their spirit, changing the course of their day, what you did do was maintain control of how your day is going. Because I don't care how your day went. Last night you and your significant other, y'all went to dinner, had date night, got home, The grown up thing, and you wake up with a smile on your face. Your husband then woke up and made your breakfast, or your wife then made your breakfast, your favorite breakfast after last night was amazing. You get up, there's no traffic in the morning. You get the Wawa to get your coffee. They got your favorite coffee hot and ready for you. It's not a long line. So when you get to the register, though, you encounter somebody who had the opposite of the type of morning you had and have a negative day. And when you hit them with the have a nice day, they're still pissed off. But what you do in that situation, when you give them a hand, even though you didn't turn around their attitude, even though what you did didn't turn around their spirit, what you did was you maintained your happiness. You maintained your peace because you didn't allow the negativity of someone else to then interfere with the peace that you're carrying on. The peace from last night, y'all doing the dog thing, and then waking up in the morning to getting that good breakfast, your favorite breakfast, to get your favorite coffee ready at the Wawa, and you ain't having no traffic. You didn't let them interfere your peace. You maintained self-control over your life. And sometimes that's what it's about. Simply, that's what it's about by telling somebody have a nice day. It's simply about maintaining control in your life, maintaining your peace, keeping your peace and happiness, maintaining the control that I'm not going to let you deter my life because you had a bad day. I get it, you're having a bad morning. You might want to just throw this day away and try again tomorrow. Or you can sit here and try to turn your day away, but I'm not going to sit here and try to have a conversation with you. All I'm going to give you is a hand. Have a nice day. I'm going to give you a hand, and you can take it from there. Now, you can take that hand and add on to it and say, yo, you know what? I can turn my day around. There's still breath in my lungs. There's still life in my body. I can turn my day around. Even though the morning didn't start off great, I can still make the rest of this day great. Or you can just say, yo, I'm throwing this day away. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to pull me down into the pit with you. I'm going to hit you with have a nice day, and I'm going to walk out here with a coconut smile. Because that's what you do. Maintain your peace. Maintain your self-control. Your happiness. Sometimes you gotta give people a hand, people. You gotta give them one. I know you sometimes feel like, yo, they don't deserve it. Some of y'all watching like, man, I ain't giving nobody no hand. I ain't giving nobody no hand. You come at me crazy, I'm coming back at you crazy. Because I don't deal with disrespect. You ain't gonna disrespect me and thinking I'm gonna take the lower ground. I ain't Michelle Obama. I ain't Barack Obama. I ain't taking the lower ground. I ain't Martin Luther King. I'm more Malcolm than Martin. I'm coming out here and I'm going to match fire with fire. Yeah, go, if your house catch on fire, do me a favor. Get a flamethrower and try to put the fire out with a flamethrower and let me know how that work out for you. You can burn down the whole damn neighborhood now. And you don't even understand why. Because you think you matching someone's negative attitude is what? Just shows that you match their ignorance. That you match their way of lack of self-control. That you match their level of just, pain and suffering. Because that's what it is. That's what it is. You feeling like you got to fight back a battle with fire just speaks more highly on what you're feeling inside. That family curse, that generational curse that still exists in you. That pain that you're still suffering from past situations, whether it was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 40 years ago, or just yesterday, you still carrying no anger. That's why you feel like you got to fight every battle, fight every war. You don't even know how to fight a war. You don't even know how to put out a fire, so you try to put out fire with fire because you're talking, I'm more Malcolm than Martin. But that's ignorance even in itself. Because when you want to talk about Malcolm and Martin, your quick history lesson, we'll do this real quick, not too long. But Malcolm changed once he took the pilgrimage. He once changed his stance. He learned more once he left the Nation of Islam. He learned that there's a different way to fight a battle. He didn't have to become Martin to maintain Malcolm, but he evolved. And some of us don't evolve. Some of us are still stuck in that pain, still stuck in the anger, thinking how we fight and deal with issues, tension and issues, is by fighting back. You got a difficult manager, yo, I gotta sit here and I gotta argue back and I gotta stand my ground. True, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do gotta stand your ground. True, sometimes you do gotta stand up for yourself. True, sometimes you do gotta defend yourself. I'm not sitting here saying that. But other instances, when you learn the situation and when you start to realize that this is just a person's personality, what you have to do is not beyond standing up for yourself. And the greatest way to stand up for yourself is sometimes giving a person a hand. Telling the person, have a nice day, and give them a smile. When your manager comes to you, you was 2 minutes late from lunch. You're right, have a nice day, and walk away. What you want me to do? You want me to argue about being 2 minutes late? You want me to sit here and talk about how it's not a big deal? What is that going to do? You and your mind already created that this is a huge deal that I'm 2 minutes late coming from lunch. You don't even know my reasons why. You don't know if my kid got an accident. You know my wife got an accident. You don't know if something happened to my house. You don't know what happened. Did someone stop me in the hallway that asked me a question about work-related question that makes it 2 minutes late? They don't know, but also they don't care. They have a level of ignorance, and their power-drunk life determines they got to have control over yours. So they're trying to control the way your day go. They're trying to exert the fact that they have control over your life. But the best way that you take back that power is not by reacting and responding and feeding on to the negativity that someone gets. It's by giving them a hand in this difficult time and the task that they're dealing with, because they're not built to deal with the power that they've been given. They don't have broad enough shoulders. Because so like I started this episode, we all need a hand at times, because I know I do. We all need a hand at times, so why don't you just give them one? Give them a hand. Give them a hand so they understand that regardless of how they're feeling and whatever issues and difficulties they're dealing with in their lives right now, that they can overcome them. We have to show empathy for people, even if we feel like they don't deserve them. Even if they feel like they don't deserve empathy, we still have to show empathy for people. We got to show a level of self-control, not because we are a manager, we don't have the pay and title, but because we have to understand who we are. We are bosses in ourselves. We are kings and queens in ourselves, and we have to understand who we are. And when we let our head tilt, when we let our head tilt, then we let our crown tilt. And when our crown starts to tilt, it starts to fall off our head. And is that what you want to do? Is fighting this war so important to you that you ready to let your crown fall off your head? It's proving that you gangster, that you tough is enough more to you than you maintaining your crown, maintaining who you are, your self-control, your self-discipline. Sometimes you have to hit a person with a hand. I encounter people like that all the time, people. I encounter power-drunk people who walk around with their chest poked out. I encounter people who are just negative at restaurants, at fast food joints. I encounter people who's negative in the streets. I encounter family members who are negative. I'm telling you, friends who are negative. I encounter some people that, man, I can tell you a story. I done seen people, power drunk people, get that blessing, see that blessing get repossessed, and seen that blessing get resold to someone else. I done seen it happen. And it all comes from the same place. People showing a level of arrogance, a lack of self-control, and allowing their situation, their personal situation, to affect how they want to act with you. But sometimes with a hand, it gets deeper, people. It gets deeper with a hand. Because see, sometimes the issue with people when they want a hand, check it out. The problem is they want somebody else's hand. Now, the first thing I told my sister, this is something I taught my sister, and she always reminds me I taught her this. Don't ever want what's in someone else's hand, because you don't know what comes with it. You don't know what's in someone else's hand. See, too many times we do is, we want what's in somebody else's hand, right? We see someone else's blessing, see someone else's husband or wife, we see someone else's house, someone else's car, someone else's job. We see someone else, you see a woman walking around with that Michael Kors, that Dior bag, that Louis Vuitton, that Gucci bag, that Prada bag, and you want her life because you're like, damn, your husband always buying you new purses, always buying you new shoes. You don't know what's going on in that life. You don't know what's going on in that hand. Don't always want someone else's hand, because you don't know what's going on in the hand. You don't know that the reason he keep buying her purses, keep buying her expensive shoes, because he keep cheating on her. He keep cheating on her. You don't know how many nights she wake up lonely. You don't know how many times she come to work and she's stressed out, and you wonder why that woman got a bad attitude all the time. You want her hand, but don't understand she needs a hand. Today she needs a hand, because those Prada and those Gucci purses and those Red Bottom shoes may covered and healed those wounds before, but now the cheating, the constant lies and all that starting to get to her, and now she come to work and she got an attitude, and you like, yo, I don't give a damn what you're going on in your life, but you got to. Sometimes you just got to, because in order to maintain your peace in the proper energy around you, sometimes you got to take control of the peace of everyone else. And sometimes you just have to simply look at that person who once you say, yo, I want what's in their hand, but they always negative, and just say, yo, instead of me wanting what's in your hand, because I don't know what's in your hand, so I don't want what's in your hand, how about I do something different? I'm going to actually give you a hand. And what I mean by giving you a hand is, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you need to leave your husband. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you need your wife, because you wonder why this dude always got the nicest watches. Yo, why this dude got the flyest wallets and he always copping a new car and stuff? You don't know his wife cheating on him. So she's letting him do what he wants. You wonder why he coming in with his head down all the time, but you're thinking like, yeah, he got that corner office. Life is good. I want that man's life. I want that man's position. He got that new Porsche, that new Affinity, that new Benz, that Escalade. He's driving good. Life is good. I want that man's hand. You don't know what's in that man's hand. Hell, his kids might have a different daddy. He been raising his kids for 16 years, 17 years. And on 18th birthday, he find out the hand of his kids. You don't want what's in that man's life. You don't want what's in that man's hand, because you don't know what's in that man's hand. But sometimes instead of wanting what's in that man or that woman's hand, sometimes the best thing to do is to give them a hand. When you see them coming in and they're stressed out and they're negative and they're power drunk and they walking around with attitude, slamming your plate on the table, or want to argue about an extra sauce, or the fact that they messed up your order, sometimes you just got to look at that person. Instead of wanting what's in their hand, you have to learn to give them a hand and say to them, have a nice day. Have a nice day. Because you have to understand, you can sit here and tell them, like, yo, you need to leave that chick because that woman, because she keeps cheating on you, and she actually has you taking care of some kids for 18 years. You paying child support, taking care of all their responsibilities. You don't pay public college fund for all of them just to find out they ain't your kids. They your best friend kids. You need to leave her. You need to divorce her. You need to let that situation go. Instead of trying to give people advice all the time, instead of trying to tell your homegirl, like, yo, instead of coming here all negative, you need to leave your husband. You need to put that energy on him. Instead of giving and teaching people to have more negativity, instead of giving people life advice when you don't have your own life in order, instead of wanting what's in someone else's hand, because that's what we do. Sometimes we look at people, celebrities, people we know, and we want someone else's hand. Instead of wanting someone else's hand, what we need to do is start to learn how to give somebody a hand. Give them have a nice day. Give them have a nice day. You see them walking around with their head down, tell the dude, show you, oh, bro, have a nice day. You don't know what that's going to do for someone. You don't know. Because some people, let me tell you something, people. Some people you see and you judging because they seem to be always negative. They walking around not caring about how they dress, how they look, how they act, how they think, how people look at them. You don't know that you telling them have a nice day probably is the only nice thing they probably heard in months, in years, in days, weeks. You don't know. That may be the only nice thing they have ever heard. You don't know what their day was going on. Today, you know you mad at your manager because she's a prick or he's a prick, and they always talking crazy, but you don't know. They may have been in meetings all week, getting chewed out while they was fighting for you, fighting for your promotion, fighting for you to get more money. But you don't know it because they ain't saying nothing to you. They fighting behind closed doors to make sure that you can still work remotely. They doing whatever they can to make your life happy, but in turn, their life is hell. And they do that crashing a whip on you because they're like, come on, let's go. We got to get this work done because I'm sitting here fighting for you behind the scenes, but I don't want to tell you I'm fighting behind the scenes for you. Because if I tell you, then you will have expectations to keep bugging, like, yo, so what's up with that promotion? What's up with that money? What's up with that remote? What's up with the extra vacation time? So they're not telling you what they're fighting. You mad at them, you pissed at them, so whatever their problems is, it's not my problems. Yeah, it is. You just don't know it. But it don't matter what the issue is. It don't matter whether they're fighting or not, because you don't know what the problem is, but they fighting for you. So instead of you sitting there complaining about matching negativity with negativity, what you do is, when you see them come out that meeting, head down, look defeated, sometimes what you should do is, instead of responding with negativity, is give a person a hand. Have a nice day. Because that may be the thing that lifts their spirit. That may be the act of kindness that they was looking for, that lift them up beyond what they're dealing with, from the depths of hell that they're living in, from that lion den. Because a lot of times you have people trying to pull you in, But what we can do is we can be the person that say, yo, I'm not going to jump in the line then with you, but I will give you a hand to pull you out. And how I'm going to give you a hand to pull you out of that line then is by saying, have a nice day. Because simply a gesture, an act of kindness, kind words can be a difference in the way someone lives their life, the way someone's day is going, the way someone's going to interpret their day, more importantly, the way that someone's going to interpret themselves. We talk about mental health issues and the significance and seriousness of it, and how it's taboo to talk about when you have mental health issues, especially for men. It's taboo to talk about when you're dealing with stress, when you're dealing with anxiety, when you're dealing with fear. It's taboo to talk about the fact that you need help. If you're dealing with bipolar issues, it's taboo to tell people that you have a problem, because what people want to do is they want to judge you. They want to call you weak if you have those problems. So a lot of times we exist and we deal with these issues in private. And the best way to deal with this, if you see someone, if you suspect someone who's dealing with these issues, is by showing them an act of kindness. Showing them an act of kindness. Because you don't know what that act of kindness may do. You may save someone's life. And I'm not being deep, and I'm not being dramatic with this, but you got to understand, people, I'm going to end it with this. You may save someone's life. You don't know how close someone is to jumping off a ledge or jumping off a bridge or just ending it all. And one simple act of kindness can be a difference of someone's life and death. So when you think about it, when you see someone, instead of judging them, have empathy on whatever they're going on in their life. Whether they're fighting for a promotion for you, they're fighting against their husband and wife, just having a bad damn day because they spill coffee on themselves, or they're just an ignorant, nasty person. Have empathy on a person and give them a hand. Because that hand that you give them may be a difference of them jumping off a bridge and not. You giving them a hand may be the hand to pull them off that cliff, pull them off that ledge, pull that gun out their hand. Pull those pills out of their hand. Pull those negative thoughts out of their mind. Pull them out of that rut, that lion's den that they live in. That hand you give them may change their lives. And that hand is, have a nice day. So I'm going to end this with saying, to anyone who's watching, listen to this episode, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, whatever's happening in your life, or wherever you are at in your life, I hope you have a nice day. And I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the Past to Present podcast. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Download this episode wherever you listen to podcasts at. Share this with as many people as you can. And until next time I see you people, or talk to you, have a nice day. And stay woke, stay focused, but most importantly, stay tuned. Peace.